of Louisiana, where the bayous whispered secrets and the cypress trees dripped with Spanish moss, there was a legend that sent chills down the spines of even the bravest souls. The tale of the rugaru, a creature said to haunt the swamps, preying on those who dared to venture too far into the darkness. Marie had grown up hearing the stories. Her grandmother, Mère Colette, would recount them with a glint in her eye, warning her to be home before dusk and to never, ever go near the swamps at night. But Marie, now a curious young woman with a thirst for adventure, found the tales more thrilling than terrifying. One warm summer evening, Marie and her friends gathered at her family's old plantation house for a bonfire. The air was thick with the sounds of crickets and frogs, the scent of the bayou hanging heavy. As the night grew darker and the firelight flickered, the conversation turned to the rugaru. "I dare you to go to the old Thibodeau cabin," Jacques, her oldest friend, said with a mischievous grin. The cabin, deep in a swamp, had been abandoned for years and was rumored to be a hotbed of supernatural activity. Marie's heart raced with a mix of excitement and fear. "You're on," she replied, her voice steadier than she felt. "I'll bring back something to prove I was there." With a lantern in hand and her friend's laughter fading behind her, Marie set off into the swamp. The path was overgrown, and the air was alive with the hum of insects. She could feel the weight of the stories pressing down on her, but she pushed forward, determined to prove herself. The deeper she went, the quieter it became, as if the swamp itself was holding its breath. The Thibodeau cabin loomed ahead, a crumbling relic of a bygone era. Marie hesitated at the threshold, the hairs on the back of her neck standing on end. She stepped inside, the floorboards creaking beneath her feet. The air was thick with decay and something else, something ancient and malevolent. As she searched for something to bring back, she heard a low growl, deep and guttural, coming from the shadows. Her blood ran cold. The stories of the rugaru came rushing back, and she realized with a sinking dread that she was not alone. The growl grew louder, and a pair of glowing red eyes appeared in the darkness. The creature stepped into the dim light, revealing a monstrous figure covered in matted fur, with sharp claws and a snarling maw. Marie's instincts kicked in, and she ran. The rugaru was fast, its heavy footsteps pounding behind her. She could hear its ragged breaths, feel the heat of its pursuit. Panic surged through her as she raced through the swamp, the lantern swinging wildly in her hand. She stumbled and fell, the lantern flying from her grasp and shattering on the ground. In the darkness, she could hear the creature closing in. Desperate, she scrambled to her feet and ran towards the faint glow of her friend's bonfire, praying she would make it in time. Just as she burst through the trees, the rugaru's claws grazed her shoulder, ripping through her shirt and leaving a searing pain. She collapsed into the clearing, her friends' laughter turning to cries of alarm as they rushed to her side. "Marie," "What happened?" Jacques asked, his face pale with fear. "The rugaru," she gasped, clutching her bleeding shoulder. "It's real." Her friends quickly extinguished the fire and helped her back to the house, locking the doors and windows tight. They tended to her wound, which throbbed with a strange, burning sensation. Marie felt a chill settle over her, a deep sense of unease that gnawed at her bones. Over the next few days, the wound refused to heal. Marie became restless, plagued by vivid nightmares of the creature. Her friends noticed the change in her, the way her eyes seemed to glow faintly in the dark, the way she recoiled from sunlight. One night, as the full moon rose high in the sky, Marie felt an unbearable pain coursing through her body. She stumbled into the yard, her skin burning and her bones aching. Her screams echoed through the night as her body twisted and contorted, fur sprouting from her skin, her teeth elongating into sharp fangs. The transformation was complete. Marie was no longer herself. She was the rugaru. The beast within her had taken over, and she prowled the swamps, hunting under the light of the full moon. The people of Green Hollow spoke in hushed tones of the new rugaru that haunted the bayous, a creature more terrifying than any before. They warned their children to stay indoors after dark and to avoid the swamps, for the rugaru was always watching, always waiting. And somewhere deep in the swamp, the human part of Marie wept, trapped forever in the monstrous form, a victim of the curse she had once thought was only a story.